With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
The badass.
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Heather. Welcome back to Like Mother, Like Murder.
Welcome back to our new season. This is going to be the first, real case episode of the new season.
Yes, it is. I'm excited for it because you are bringing the case today.
Those
Those are always my favorite. I love the research. I love deep diving and getting into every single thing when it comes to researching the case, right?
Yes.
And I love writing it. I really, really do. But there is nothing like sitting back and listening to my favorite podcaster, Heather, tell me a story.
And you know what? I have to agree with that sentiment, except replace Heather with Rachel, because I like to just sit back and really, think about it and just be I think that there's something special because you know why I think we both love that so much, Rachel?
Why?
We started as listeners, obviously.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's because that's what we were in the beginning.
If you go through my podcast app right now, there are still the podcasts that I have been listening to for pretty much I've been listening to true crime podcasts now for probably going on 10 years, right? So it's you can just see it. It's there. And I started as a listener, and I think even though I am a podcaster now, I think I will always consider myself a listener first.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't know if I'll consider myself a listener first. No, all the time and effort that goes in here. We are podcasters to our core.
It's true.
But no, we have those roots, those listener roots, and that's why we wanted to do this in the first place. But yeah, it's funny because I feel like we had said season 3 before, but this is year 3.
Yeah,
this is
3.
our 3-year podiversary episode coming back. I do want to tell you something really quickly that I received in text message today that as soon as I got it, I just started laughing, and I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it with everyone because everyone already knows this about me, and I just could not stop laughing. But someone sent me this little meme or quote bubble or whatever, and it says, "Forget about long story short. I'm going to start saying short story long and take you on a journey you didn't ask for."
Didn't I send something to you that not too long ago too?
Yes, you did.
It's so funny you said that because literally that came across my feed the other day, and I was about to send it to you, and I go, no, I'm pretty sure I just sent it to her.
Yeah.
And I should have just sent it again, but 100%. And that is exactly why we have this podcast.
Oh, yeah. I get that same sort of message twice a week.
Yeah.
Someone is always like, haha, this makes me think of you. And I'm like, it makes everyone think of me. Every single person thinks of me when they see me. So
but
funny.
That's why it's so good. That's why it's so good. If I wanted to hear about something, I'm not just in it for the quick summary, man. I want like you said, I want the deep dive. I want the details. And that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. And all of this is really just making me think talking about our, being a listener first, talking about our 3-year podiversary that we've done this, I really just want to take this moment to say thank you to our listeners.
Yes.
Like, it's incredible that we've been doing this for 3 years and we still get, new listeners. We still get people, commenting. We still have interactions with people. Like, people aren't completely tired of us yet. And that's just absolutely amazing. And I also just want to take this opportunity, and I'm sure with this being the first case episode since our 3-year podiversary, I'm sure if you listen to whatever last episode was in terms of the 3-year podiversary, I will have said this multiple times. But thank you, Rachel, for bringing me on this journey. I mean, this was your idea. Like, you literally texted me to say, let's do this. And I was, all about it. But I think you have taken this and really solidified this idea and just totally made this, like, I feel like you gave birth to this, and I am, like, the mom that comes in and just, like, helps raise the child.
Godmother.
Yes, there you go. I'm the godmother of this baby.
I love it so much. I love that you're like, you birthed this child.
You did birth this child.
We talked it out. We discussed it together.
We did.
We came up with names. It's our little baby. I love it.
But I never would have thought to do anything like this had it not been for you. So thank you.
And look at us now. It is amazing. I love doing it alongside you. And I love the listeners. Why they come back, I don't know if it's because they want to hear the long story short or the short story long. Either way, that's what you get. That is the best. Thank you guys for being here. We love what we do. We love the growth that we have, gone throughout the journey. And we love everyone that we've been able to work alongside, whether that is another podcaster or creator, or if that is a mother or a daughter or someone that we've had the privilege to help or work with. It's been a journey. So it's beautiful, and I'm excited for year 3 and what it has to come.
I'm so many things. Too. And I'm excited for this case. I really, truly am. I have probably been wanting to do this case most likely since before the podcast started. Well, like since the podcast started, because the first time I heard about this case was, it seems like it was one of those COVID ones where, you're just watching a bunch of unsolved mysteries and forensic files and a bunch of true crime stuff. And I remember this case just being so, what the heck happened? So I think this is a good one to go over because it's one of those ones where someone fucking knows something, y'all. And it's very clear that someone knows something. And it has been, unfortunately, like over 2 decades.
Jeez.
And so we're going to bring it. We're going to bring it today.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into it.
So, Rachel, I want you to think about your day. What is something that you think you do every day that takes you approximately 13 minutes to complete?
Showering.
That's the first thing I had on my list. What about sitting on the couch and watching some Instagram reels? I know that for me, that lasts a lot longer than 13 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
But listening to like 3 or 4 songs while you're folding some laundry, getting some gas, running to the corner market, picking something up.
Yeah.
For Patrice Enders, 13 minutes was all the time it took for her to vanish and disappear without a trace.
Goodness gracious.
So on April 15th, 2004, from Tamber's Trim and Tan on Highway 369 in Cumming, Forsyth County, Georgia, Patrice Tamber Enders disappeared. Her last confirmed contact was a phone call that ended that morning at 11:37. 13 minutes later, at 11:50, another phone call came in, but she would never answer it. And by noon, she missed an appointment with a regular client. Patrice's son, Pistol, was a few weeks shy of his 16th birthday the day his mom disappeared. And to this day, he still has more questions than answers.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. So I'm sorry, I already have a question for you. I know you said Georgia.
Yes.
But where did you say she went missing from?
Georgia.
No, I feel like you said so much in that first opening, went missing from here.
So
from here.
Tamber's Trim and Tan was the name of her store.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what I was like, what the heck? And then when you said her name, I was like, everything is blending. Okay.
Yeah, Tamber.
I am following now.
Yes,
okay.
Because her name, so Patrice Tamber, she was Patrice Tamber Enders, her married last name. And so it was in Cumming, Georgia, which is in Forsyth County.
Gotcha. Following.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Patrice was a mother, a daughter, a wife, and a well-loved member of the tight-knit community that was in this small town in Georgia. She was a hairstylist, and she had a very loyal group of clients. Her friends and her family said that she loved everyone, and everyone loved her, and that people would come by her salon just to chat, even if they weren't getting their hair cut. And a lot of times people would hang out after their appointments just to hang out.
Yeah, apparently people wanted to talk to her. She probably had long story shorts.
Well, and I think, they talk about this all the time. And I remember a few, years ago, maybe last year, there was a thing where they said, it was a hairstylist. And they would say, so is this appointment going to be with or without therapy? And it was if it was with therapy, that,
Yep.
And if it was without therapy, they'd duct tape their mouth shut, because there is something about your hairstylist, or maybe it's your nail girl, or maybe it's that bonding time. And you really do have, they know your whole life story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We love our girl. Me and my daughter, we have the same hairstylist that we've been going to since we moved here. Mm-hmm. And we have followed her to 3 different salons, maybe 4 different salons at this point. Right. Because now she has her own building, and it's a whole journey. And we're a part of it, but she knows our life. She knows she celebrated my daughter's birthday. So hairstylist, props to them.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. They are definitely they're your extended family. They are part of your core group.
Yes.
So Patrice, she was born and raised in Georgia. And like I said, she launched her own business called Tamber's Trim and Tan, her very own hair salon, right there in Forsyth County, Georgia, right off Highway 369. And then she had also raised her only child, a son named Pistol, right there in the same area. And her and Pistol's father were no longer together, but their son explained that they still spoke every day. And he even told Unsolved Mysteries that they were best friends, that they spoke all the time.
Okay.
And so they were co-parenting, obviously. They still were on very good terms, and they were doing it right, from what it sounds like.
Nice.
And Patrice was an amazing mother. Everyone talks about how dedicated she was to her son, and even her son talks about how, they were the biggest things in each other's worlds.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
So when she was about 30 years old, a man came into her salon for a haircut. His name was Rob Ender. And he was actually 20 years her senior. But they had an instant connection. And they did eventually get married. Things started out great. Around the same time that they were married, she actually was able to open her very own salon. So she had been, renting a chair at another salon. She did eventually open up her own place, that Tamber's Trim and Tan. And her son, Pistol, he explained that the first year of the marriage, everything was fine. her and Rob and Pistol, they all got along. He said that Rob was pretty attentive. He was supportive, like took him to practices and came to his games and whatnot.
Do you know how old they are at this point?
Mm-hmm.
How old is the son?
So if we're talking right when they got married,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been, he was like 8 or 9, I believe. The son, Pistol, was like 8 or 9. So that would have put her at, let me do math. Because she was 30 when they met.
Okay.
And she, 38. Yeah, so she must have been, when they got married, like 31 or 32.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So the first year, the beginning of the relationship, great. But it quickly soured. So Pistol described that his stepdad, Rob, would walk by his room and just say snide, rude comments. That, like, it was like he couldn't do anything right. He talked about the fighting, the arguing that would happen between his mom and his stepdad. And on top of, on top of the rude and snide comments and the arguing, others around the couple, they did say that Rob was jealous. He was a very jealous guy. He was overprotective. And he wanted all the attention to himself.
Never a good sign.
Never a good sign. And now you can see where there's going to be animosity. Like, he's walking by. I mean, at that point, what can like a 10, 11, 12-year-old really do, right? Other than be a kid. But when you have a very dedicated mother who is not going to give up her dedication to her son just because she marries another man, that man's not okay with it. You can see how.
So he was jealous of the son?
I think he was, the way that I kind of understand it, he was jealous of the attention that Patrice gave to her kid.
Goodness gracious. I guess instantly, and, you should never assume, but my head went straight to he was just jealous for, relationship stuff.
I think he was also just like a jealous, overprotective person. But there was something, a very specific animosity, I think, between Pistol and Rob that you have to assume, what could it be? I mean, at that point, he would have been a preteen teenager. Like, what?
I would like to offer the commentary here that that's purely disgusting.
100%.
And you should only praise and shout out these parents who have relationships like that with their children, not to be jealous, not say rude things, not be a freaking mean individual to this child. That's, oh my gosh, I hate it. That makes me so upset. Okay.
And especially because Patrice had been a single mom for a long time, and she was a mom first. She always put Pistol first, taking care of what he needed getting taken care of, and then she would go work her job, and she held it down for a long time as a single mother with just her and Pistol.
Yep.
Okay. So, like I said, though, Pistol did explain, he did tell on Unsolved Mysteries that the relationship between Rob and his mom, it wasn't all great either. It wasn't just Pistol and Rob that were having issues. It was Rob and Patrice. So he does recall fighting. He does recall arguing. And he had told in an interview that prior to her disappearance, a few weeks just before her disappearance, his mom did mention to her son, that she was considering a divorce because she wasn't happy.
Oh.
And this was confirmed by others close to her, that she just wasn't happy in the relationship and she was thinking about a divorce. But if you talk to Rob, different story.
Yeah, everything was fine and dandy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
He said they never argued. They never fought. He said that the idea that she wanted to divorce him was news to him because they had a great relationship. And he actually turned the tables and said that Pistol was the jealous one. That Pistol was resentful of his mom's new relationship, of the new man in her life.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say that's not true. Even if there is some sort of, I was a single mom, and I always say, it's me and my daughter against the world. Like, it is what it is. I'm in a great relationship. He has 3 stepchildren, and I have 3 stepchildren, not him, but he has 3 children. I was like, they're his stepkids. No, that's not what I meant. But it's like, if you think about, even just speaking for me and my daughter, it's like, I'm sure she would have feelings every once in a while of like, this is my mom, or, she's spending too much time with this other child or with him or whatever, and you can have those feelings, and so can the other adult.
Right.
But if you don't handle those in a constructive or a, learning and growing kind of way, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's
totally.
Also, you're the adult here, or you're supposed to be.
Say, it's a totally natural thing to have those emotions, I think. But like you said, you need to address them. You need to come at them like an adult. Exactly. And it's important that you talk to the kid if they're having feelings, of course, too. But like, what the fuck? And I'm going to go over some more stuff that just like, I don't like him. I don't like Rob.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gathering that.
So that brings us to April 15th, 2004. Patrice was 38 years old. Her only son, Pistol, was in the 10th grade. And by this time, she had been married to Rob for several years. And this day started out like any other day. She had dropped off Pistol at school in the morning, and then she head into work at her salon. And thankfully, with phone records and the appointment book, the investigators were able to pretty much recreate her morning, like hour by hour. So her first client of the morning was at 9 a.m. This client came in. They got their hair done, but they did mention that Patrice seemed distracted that day. Her second client arrived and then left the shop at 11:27. So they know that this man left at 11:27. At 11:35, someone called to change the appointment with her. And this person did say that Patrice sounded kind of short on the phone. That phone call, though, lasted 2 minutes. And this phone call from 11:35 to 11:37 was seemingly the last known time someone spoke to her. Because at 11:50, another call came in, but it went unanswered. So what happened in that 13 minutes? It's crazy because we think about, it's only 13 minutes. Like, there's so many things you could do in 13 minutes. I can drive to my kid's school and pick her up and get home in 13 minutes. I could, like you said, take a shower.
Yeah. I could walk my dog around this.
That's what I was going to say.
Neighborhood.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things, but then also it's like, it just makes me start thinking obviously I start thinking about everything that you're saying, but her demeanor was different throughout the day. And then also, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. So it was this 13-minute gap that became critical. So between the call, which ended at 11:37, and the unanswered call at 11:50. So this is what we do know that happened in that 13 minutes. There were 2 independent eyewitnesses. The first was Tammy Fincher, and she was driving by the salon around 11:45. So right in between that gap.
Right.
And as she drove by, she noticed a blue vehicle, which she characterized as a Chevrolet Lumina. And very specifically, she remembers seeing that it had this Georgia Quail Wildlife tag on the license plate. So I looked this up. I didn't know this was a thing, but it's like you can get the special license plate, almost like a vanity plate, but it's the special, like the actual plate is specific, and this one specifically was for conservation efforts.
Okay.
So Tammy Fincher also noticed that this blue Chevy Lumina was parked right in front of the salon, and that Patrice's car, she had a big Chevy Tahoe, was pulled alongside parallel, like parking in front of the salon. So the two cars were kind of like perpendicular to each other.
Okay.
Which was weird though, because everyone who they interviewed said that Patrice always backed her car in along the side of her salon. So for her car to be parked out in front, like parallel to the salon in itself, was out of the
abnormal.
Ordinary. So Tammy went on to say that what she observed when she drove by was what she thought was two women. A tall, dark-haired woman who she thought could have been Patrice, and another woman. And Tammy said that the two women had, quote, hands on each other, end quote. But she couldn't tell if this was aggressive, like they were pushing, or maybe just if one had fallen and the other was kind of pulling back up. So, like, remember, Tammy was literally, like, driving by. And this is technically, like, a highway. So, like, it's not like she's puttering down, like, you know, like a side street at 25 miles. So she got, like, a glance. Yeah, she literally saw, like, a snippet of this.
I want to commend her on the amount of detail that she got in that glance right there.
Exactly. That's why I'm always saying, I know it's, like, maybe paranoid, but, like, when I see things out of the ordinary,
I'm
always just kind of clocking it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the good thing is there was a second witness, completely independent of Tammy, who also happened to be driving by the salon around the same time, around 11:45. And he described a similar vehicle. Again, he agreed on the color blue, completely independently, but he characterized it as a Ford Taurus or a Chevy Malibu. Now, if you look at these cars, they're all just kind of like four-door sedan cars, you know. But they were both specific on the blue color. And whereas Tammy said it was two women, this second witness, this man, said he believes there was actually a man and a woman, but the man had like shoulder-length hair. So you can kind of see where, you know. Now, what is very good, though, for investigators is these two witnesses very independently and within that very important 13-minute time frame tagged the car and tagged two individuals. Okay. So then 10 minutes later, so remember we have the phone call that ends at 11:37. We have the eyewitnesses seeing something at 11:45. And then we have the call that goes unanswered at 11:50.
Yes.
So 10 minutes after this, 12 o'clock on the dot, two of Patrice's regular clients arrived at the salon. They found an empty salon. No Patrice.
But what about her car? Was her car out there still?
Her car was still there.
Okay.
Her keys were still there. Her purse was still there. Her cell phone was still there. Her car was obviously out front, still parked in the weird spot. And her lunch was still in the microwave, warmed up, ready to eat.
Wow. Okay, so the one who called to cancel her appointment, she thought, I have a minute to eat. So it's not like she was going to be leaving the salon to get in her car and go somewhere. That means whoever showed up definitely interrupted her moment to herself.
100%. Now, something that was a red flag, obviously, other than the fact that all her stuff was there, as if she literally just stepped outside and then just disappeared, was that the register was open and there was money missing. So the clients, these 12 o'clock regular clients that were always there on time, ready to go, they immediately called 911. They were like, nope, this is not right. And thankfully they did, and thankfully police were like, okay, let's get this rolling.
Yeah.
So they arrived they immediately start processing the scene. They're conducting searches around the area. And meanwhile, they also try to contact her son, Pistol. They actually pull him out of class. So it was still school time. It's not like they waited a long time. They pull him out of class. I can't even fucking imagine this.
I know. I'm like, I'm already like.
They pull him out of class. They bring him to the office, and he's like, the fuck? You know? And they ask him, you know, when's the last time you talked to your mom? He's like, I don't know. She dropped me off this morning. They're like, okay, like, can you try to contact her? He tries to call his mom. It rings out. And he said his mom, if she didn't answer, she would call back right away. Because
Well, didn't you say that her phone was still at the salon?
her phone was still at the salon.
Oh,
And
I'm over here like,
I
well,
think
why would they have her
didn't
call if they
realize,
already knew?
like, maybe they didn't realize that her phone was still there because
Oh, okay.
this was so heartbreaking that they were like, oh, yeah, call your mom. He
Yeah.
wasn't, like, his mom didn't have her phone. And so the same thing would happen. There was another friend that also tried to call her, and it went unanswered. And they were like, oh, that's weird. And it was because her phone was left there with all her other belongings at her salon. So other than the money missing from the cash register and her car being in a weird spot that everyone said was not, you know, normal for her, and all her belongings still there was no evidence of like a struggle. There wasn't things strewn about. It wasn't like you know, her hair stuff had been crashed to the ground. It wasn't like the register was tipped over. It was just open and empty. And there was no blood. Nothing else was out of place. But like I said, the investigation, they started right away that day, a few hours later. They swarmed the area. They're searching all the area. And from what I can gather, they were helicopters. There were dogs. They were coming in. They immediately went to interview her husband, right? They knew the son was at school. They immediately went to go interview her husband, Rob. Because this had the community shaken. This was a small, tight-knit community. And someone who was beloved, was people's, you know, confidant.
Yeah.
You know, how could she vanish without a trace, especially in that teeny tiny gap? I mean, someone literally saw her, they think it was her, at 11:45. And if not, just before that, someone stopped talking to her at 11:37.
Right.
And then she was gone. Family and friends expected her to just, like, come back. Like, they were like, well, this has to just be some rant. Like, this cannot be it, right? They were like, she'll come back. Because the alternative was just too grim. And even her son said he was like, I'm sure she'll show up. I don't know. Something weird happened, but no, she's going to come back. Of course, there was a theory, you know, put up by authorities, which almost, I mean, I think we do never read single fucking case about a mom, a single mother, or even not a single mom who goes missing without a trace, and they don't somehow say, oh, she probably just walked away from her life. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Oh my God.
Which
like,
I can't, like, I mean, you
we've
should never
seen it.
think
We
that,
know
but I
that
was
it's
gonna
a
say, like,
possibility.
right. And that's that they have to look at every single possibility. They have to look in every single direction, and they have to test everything when
You're
you
right.
don't know, you know? But
Right.
if you say, here's what the wrong thing is if you say she probably walked away, and then you sit on your ass and don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
difference.
So everyone, though, was adamant. She would never leave her son. And Pistol was just as sure. He's like, no way. She would never leave me. But he did recall that a few weeks before she disappeared, she asked him, kind of randomly hypothetical question, hey, if I were to ever go anywhere, where would you go? Like, if something happened to me. And I think when I think about the relationship they had, they were very close. He says they talked about everything. I think that he was a teenager. And, you know, as a parent, you do think about, obviously you think about, like, oh my God, what would happen to my kids if I wasn't here?
Yeah.
And it is something. And I think that as your kids get older, yeah, it's something like, you know, what what would you want? Where would you, especially in a situation like this where it's a single mom and her son, and I think she obviously knew, like, him and Rob didn't get along. So she asked the question, and he said, oh, I'd probably just go live with Dad. But he didn't think anything of it until, obviously, she goes
Yeah, I was going to say
missing, and then it's on his mind.
We've said it 100 times on this podcast, but like, oh, we don't believe in coincidences. But that right there is really hard for me to like think any other way. Like, it makes me, yeah, they could have a great relationship and they can just be having this conversation and then that happened. But then also, was she
like, did she
afraid
feel like something was happening?
Something,
That's
yeah,
what
like
my thought
intuition or gut, that feeling is typically not wrong.
Yeah.
So,
well, and especially when you add that to the fact that that day people mentioned that she was a little on edge. Yeah. So, days go by. Weeks go by. More searches, including community members, and there was still nothing. And of course, investigators, like I said, they interviewed Rob like immediately. And based on statements from her son and other close family members, right, there was a motive, potentially, that Patrice was unhappy and she was potentially looking for a divorce. And Rob was characterized as a very possessive, overprotective person. But Rob maintained his innocence. He stated his version in that him and Patrice were very happy. They didn't argue. There is no motive there. And when if you watch his interview that he gave to Unsolved Mysteries, he points to that fact. Oh, we were very happy. We never fought. We never argued. And he specifically says, how could I do that when it would be physically impossible for me to have done that? And he lays out. He says that the morning that she went missing, he was at home. And then he went to get gas before work, and he has a receipt with a timestamp.
mm-hmm.
And the gas station is 45 minutes from her salon. And there was clock in, clock out at his job. That perfectly means no way I could have done this. Now, I go back and forth about this because this was done. Like, this Unsolved Mysteries came out in 2020, so you have to imagine it was they had filmed it more recently. I mean, her son, when they interviewed him, he was like a grown man, and she disappeared in 2004. But to me, I don't know, the fact that he's like, and I have a perfect alibi. The fact that he points it out, to me, it's just a little...
Yeah, I can see that. But my brain goes both ways all the time.
Let's hear it.
Who I am as a person. Well, it's like if it was any other circumstance, we would also like commend that person and say, "Wow, look, like you're bringing like you must watch these documentaries.
You literally brought
listen
receipts.
to true crime because you literally knew that you would have to, have yourself covered in this sort of way." So it's really, really hard. But I mean, you haven't touched on this, and I've been waiting this entire time. Does his vehicle match the description that was there or not?
No. And no, it doesn't. But for what it's worth, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said in the Unsolved Mysteries, but he did have like some kind of background in some kind of criminal justice. So this either plays two ways, right? This plays in the ways I know they're going to call on me. In a lot of these cases, it's the partner. I know they're going to call on me. Yeah. Let me have my receipts prepared.
Exactly.
Or, if you think about it from like a guilty way, he has this background. He knows he's going to need receipts.
Exactly.
So, of course, investigators, they look at the timeline. They say, the timeline makes it pretty improbable that he himself was the one who committed this crime. Like, he himself physically. Not completely impossible, but improbable. And it's there is always, we've talked about several cases where it's a murder for hire situation. So investigators say that they don't completely eliminate Rob from the suspect list, but his alibi does track.
Okay. I mean, is he dating someone, or was he dating someone in the few years after that either bought or sold a car in 2004?
I don't know that.
Look, that's where I'm like, we need to find these women.
All I know is he did end up getting married after Patrice.
Yeah,
but,
and so how long? Was he already talking to her? Was this a murder for hire?
I don't
Did
think
this
so.
girl...
You are so funny. You're going to have more to say because I haven't even gotten to the creepiest part of this man.
Oh, okay. Because then, I mean, and then also my head goes into the direction of, I've had so many thoughts, but like, does she smoke? Was she outside smoking and someone like came up, saw that she was outside, just literally, it happens that fast.
That fast. 13 minutes.
Fast. 13 minutes where someone can see, oh, this salon owner's outside. I'm just going to run in, grab that money. And then they're trying to get away. And that's when, she puts her hands on that person and is like, you ain't getting away. And then they get away.
Yeah.
But why would they get away with her in the car? So then I'm like, why take her? If you're trying to rob, why take? Okay, sorry.
Why take her? So especially because, and that I do talk about that later. Like, if the motive was just robbing her, you got the money. And it's not like a single woman hair salon. Like, literally, she's the only one that works there. It's not like there's 10 stylists all there, all pulling in whatever, $50 an hour from all these haircuts or whatever. It's just her. It's midday.
I mean, she definitely takes that money home with her. It's not like she's got friggin' stacks of money in the salon.
And how much money do you think you're getting from a one-person salon, right? In the middle of Georgia. It's not like this is a Beverly Hills salon that, like, sees... At that point in the day, she had seen 2 clients, right? So fast-forwarding a little bit to April 2005.
Was all of the money gone? Sorry.
They say is there was money missing from the cash register. They do not specify how much money. And one thing that I will talk about, but I'll just say here, they do have some guilty information evidence. So they have evidence that they have never, ever, ever released to anybody that only the guilty party would know. And I wonder if some of that is, how much money did you actually get? Because all they say is there was missing cash. They don't say it was completely cleaned out. They don't say it was a little bit, but not all of it. They don't specify.
Yeah. That makes me think the possibility of of her buying something from somebody. They pull up in the car, right? And it's like she had to take money from the drawer to pay them for something. And then they're like, no, you didn't give me enough or something. And it's like, get in my car right now type thing. So, I don't know. Okay.
Sorry. Your brain.
I know, I need to listen.
Your brain is crazy. Well, this is only going to make you have more theories. Because
most of these do.
Yeah. In April 2005, what they thought would be like a break in the case. So, Jeremy Bryan Jones had been arrested for the murder of a woman in Mobile County, Georgia. Turns out this motherfucker was a serial killer.
Oh.
And he actually confessed to killing a hairdresser in Georgia to get leniency for his sentence. And they asked him specifically. What?
I did not understand the way that you said that.
What?
I just didn't understand the wording, I guess, or something. And I was like, why would he kill her to get leniency?
No,
but
he
confessed to it. I know, yeah.
Another murder.
Sorry. Got it.
Yeah. So.
And then there's that part of my brain.
Yeah. They work hand in hand, honestly. Can't have one without the other.
Right.
So, Jones ended up making a full confession when they asked him specifically about Patrice. He described stopping at her salon asking for a jump start for his car, which may explain why her car was pulled up, not in the position it normally was in. And then he forced her into the car. And he even drew a diagram of how the vehicles were parked that matched up with the way that the crime scene was. And then when he was questioned, okay, you put her in the car, and then what happened? Where is she? He stated that he drove about 65 miles away from her salon and threw her body over the side of a bridge into the Sweetwater Creek in Douglas County. So authorities, obviously, they go to that bridge, they go to that creek, they start a search. Now, it's been almost a year at this point since Patrice has gone missing. Almost a year exactly, actually.
Yeah.
But they bring cadaver dogs, they bring boats, they do search and rescue. Nothing. Not a single thing. And turns out that this fucker is not only a serial killer, but a liar. He later recanted this entire confession.
Jeez.
Most likely, he was just making up this story in order to reduce his sentence for the other charges that he was on. So investigators, even though he recanted, they're a little wary about completely disregarding his entire statement because they feel like he still provided information that would be very unlikely for anyone except the person responsible to know. Now, in all the realm of possibilities, he could have just made up a story. And when you think about it, he could have been fed either,
certain information for 100%. Him to put it. Yeah, I mean,
yes, we know that happens. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, December 2005. So, on December 6th of 2005, and this would be about a year and a half after Patrice had gone missing, two men were working at Lebanon Baptist Church when they noticed several buzzards out in the field. When they went out to check on it, it was a very rural area. They found the deer, which the buzzards were going after. But then they also noticed a human skull.
Oh, gosh.
So within hours, the team was on site, searching the wooded area for more evidence. And they recovered a majority of the bones. It was all skeletal remains at this point. It had been 600 days exactly since Patrice's disappearance. And this site was only 10 miles from the salon.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So when they go back and they listen to Fuckface's confession about what he supposedly did with Patrice, it obviously doesn't match up with where they eventually did find her body.
Yeah.
In April of 2006, her community held a memorial for Patrice, and friends emphasized how much she loved her child, how much she loved Pistol, how much she loved her clients, that she was just a loving, caring, important member of the community. And it just really reinforced the fact that this shook that community to their core, and she really did have an impact on those around her. But although they have her remains, they're still no closer to any answers.
Oh, man.
So in January of 2008, investigators added serial killer Gary Michael Hilton to their suspect list. He had recently been implicated in the murder of Meredith Emerson in Dawson County, which would have been close to where Patrice's body was discovered. Turns out that Gary Michael Hilton, also known as the National Forest serial killer, had murdered hikers across multiple states between 2005 and 2008. Now remember, Patrice went missing in 2004. And they have evidence he had previously been stopped for a traffic violation in Forsyth County around the time of her disappearance. And he had previously made statements that one of his favorite places to go and get money was to go rob hair salons during lunchtime.
Okay. That's a lot of,
lining up information right there.
yeah, factors. So, like, wow.
Yeah. But even with that, they've never been able to prove one way or another that he was involved.
What in the hell?
Yeah. But let's circle back to Rob, because I told you there's like major creep vibes.
Yeah.
So people in her life, including her son and including friends and family close to her, they specifically said, okay, you need to look at the husband. And although, of course, he maintained his innocence throughout and he had a very specific on-point alibi, Rob, if you ask him, does believe it was someone who knew her and knew her routine, knew she would be at that salon, knew the way that she went about her day. The thing that throws me off about him, when Patrice went missing, he immediately, like literally, I believe the next day, changed the locks to the doors of the house and would not let his stepson come in to retrieve any of his stuff or anything of his mother's.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me so mad.
Yeah.
That makes me so mad and frustrating and terribly sad
Yes.
for Pistol. Like, you're going through the scariest and worst and most heartbreaking thing ever in your entire life. And on top of that, the home that you lived in with your mom is now locked down.
Yes.
And you can't retrieve your things.
Right.
Okay.
And what throws me off
Guilty.
about this, I know.
Sorry.
And what
Sorry.
throws me off about this, he did this before her body was like like he did this immediately. So what if she had returned home? Now, granted, her keys were found at the salon. She maybe didn't have her key, but what if there was like a hide-a-key? I know where the hide-a-key is. I'm going to go unlock my door. You changed the locks. How's she supposed to come home to that? What the fuck? Let's up the creep vibe.
Okay. There's more.
When her skeletal remains were found, Rob requested that her bones be reassembled as best they could, which, okay, yes. And they actually, like, laid them out in anatomical, like, kind of position. And he describes this in his own words, that when he went to the place where they did this to say his goodbyes, he picked up her skull and carried it around. Then she was cremated. He goes on, and this is in an interview on Unsolved Mysteries. I'm pretty sure that every time I've watched this part, my jaw is just like on the ground and my face is like, what the fuck? He has her cremated. He slept with her ashes in his bed like a, quote, teddy bear, unquote.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't bother me.
Are you joking? Is that's not the creepiest thing you've ever fucking heard?
No, I guess, like, I mean, carrying the skull around is weird, but I was going to say something along the lines of, like, people carry their loved ones' ashes all around. They take them from room to room with them. They, that kind of thing where, I'm going to go sit in the living room. I'm going to take them and sit them on the couch next to me. It's like something that people legit do. So the fact that he, like, if he was sad about it, which this guy definitely, there's things that I cannot stand about him, but if he was sad and he's like holding these ashes, do I think I would do anything like that? Or do I think that it's like kind of off in a way? Maybe, but at the same time, it's like I can totally see it. Everyone grieves differently, everyone goes through things differently, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's as weird as like.
I could never. And you know what? You're right, Rachel. I shouldn't be so quick to judge. I think just when he says this is what he did after hearing everything else that he did, in my mind, I'm like, you will just never let go of the possessiveness.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was that, because the fact of the matter is he had these ashes and he never, ever shared them with her one and only son, her flesh and blood.
Oh, that's disgusting.
He never did. And during the filming of this Unsolved Mysteries, they film him opening the box and handling the bag of her ashes. And this was in 2020. He had never even unsealed the box. So, like, I know that this is a thing. Like, they put the ashes inside a bag. They put that bag into a box. He had never unsealed that box.
Yeah, I know all about those boxes. I used to have to deliver them to people, Heather.
Rachel, oh my God,
I used to have to set them on my front tray and take them in my mail truck. And you want to know something crazy? This has nothing to do with this case, but I am going to say it here, is they would literally tell us, like, do your route in order. And I'm like, no, I'm going to take so-and-so to their loved one immediately.
To the person.
Yeah, and get them out of my car.
Oh my God.
For many reasons. First of all, I'm sitting in a hot box. Maybe I shouldn't think of it like that, but I'm going to go straight there.
100%. I would
to
feel
the
the
person.
same way you did.
So,
but I just felt it was weird, and the way that he handled the bag, Rachel. Like, this is her.
Okay, he's got some screws loose for sure. Something's up with that guy.
Oh my God. And he very specifically said, like, and I will never, ever, ever, ever give Pistol anything of hers, any piece of her, nothing. And here's the thing.
So ridiculous.
Say what you want. Ridiculous. Like, if you have a thing against, and at this point, you had it out for a fucking 15-year-old boy. You changed the locks on a 15-year-old boy. It has been, at this point of the filming of that, like 15 fucking years, and you're still holding this fucking grudge? Like, is that what you think that the person that you seemingly care so much for, that you slept with her ashes, if you cared so much for her, you think that's what she'd want?
Right.
Never to be able to say goodbye to her son, never to be able to know that her son would have any little piece of her, because what Pistol says is he never got to go back to the house and get any pictures. He never got to go back to the house and getting any of his mom's stuff. Like, what the fuck?
How is that not something that people could have intervened with?
Yeah. Like, legally,
that is so
it's pretty
sad.
fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. But I think when you think about the fact that he was a minor,
yeah,
and she was married, but at the same time, and like, what are you supposed to, like, I mean, he's a minor, but he's a minor. Like, what is he supposed to do? I'm going to hire myself a lawyer? Like, I don't know. Like, it's not like,
yeah, but then also it makes me, like, curious, how at some point in the episode you talked about the fact that she confided in him and had said that she was considering, leaving Rob and getting a divorce. And it's like, I wonder if she had said that to any other friends or,
she did.
People. Well, and so how do you not take that and give that information to law enforcement or to somebody and say, hey, like, her son deserves this. Her son deserves her belongings. Her son. I mean, I'm sorry. This is hitting way too close to my personal life right now, and a situation I went through that really crushes me.
I know,
So.
And I think that what's crazy in that situation too is, like, wasn't even a minor in your situation, and still, like, this fucker, and that's what's so hard is, like, he was a minor. He was in a vulnerable situation. You would think that in situations like this, like, that's got to be, like, it's got to be someone's job to advocate
Right.
for the children. Like,
Well,
it's
we see
obviously
a lot of-
very fucking clear.
Yeah.
I know I thought about you guys a lot, honestly, when I was reading it. And maybe that's why I find him even more, like,
Repulsive?
Worse. Yes.
Okay. I can see it now.
And maybe that's why. So, the last couple things I want to wrap up here is that in terms of a motive, yes, there was the money missing from the cash register, but like we kind of mentioned before, they don't think that robbery was a very good motive for this because there wouldn't have been a lot of cash. And if it was just robbery, rob and leave, right? Murder is like on a whole other level. The other thing is, it even though it was just like one person's salon, it was like a busy area. I mean, in that 13-minute time span, 2 people passed by, right? People were constantly stopping in, asking for directions, asking about information about the area. We don't know if this was like a pre-planned thing or like you said, a crime of opportunity, like where someone's just, oh, let me go in.
Yeah.
Maybe she's outside, while her lunch heats up and they, see an opportunity. The other thing that I want to point out that I find very creepy, and it either, depending on how you think about it, it could totally go with serial killer vibes or it could totally go with very creepy possessive partner vibes. So Patrice had a really nice wedding ring. It was two bands like soldered together with a marquee cut diamond.
Okay.
And it was nice. It was never recovered. Now, we know serial killers like to take trophies. And we also know that sometimes, if partners in their weird possessive nature do things of that sort. But this is the thing. They recovered a really good amount of her remains. And she was, like I said, her remains were a skeleton at that point. But they never recovered the ring.
Yeah, so the robbery went wrong because she didn't have enough money in the box. So then the person said, well, I'm taking that. And she's like, no, you're not taking that.
Maybe.
And it was the fight that they saw. No, I obviously, nobody knows the answer to that. But it, again, makes me think, so once you find out that the ring wasn't there, did you look into all the different local ring shops?
Pawn shops. Like where, because the thing is, this was a pretty, I mean, I wouldn't say that it was super rare, but it was like, you don't see like and I don't know, maybe it was more common back in early 2000 Georgia to have a marquee cut diamond. Maybe that was the style. I don't know.
I think they're beautiful, but I think right now you all look down. Everyone listening, look down at your finger. If you're wearing, a 2-band soldered together marquee cut.
Yeah. And
then you look to the side and you see a man that you've ever questioned anything about him in your damn life. You mean to, and if you got it you could have got it at any time, but after 2004,
I want to show you the picture of her ring because I just feel like it is one of those where you're like, oh, you don't see that every day. Let me show you really quick. And obviously we will post this, you guys, on Instagram.
Definitely not common.
Right?
Very beautiful. And it seems like, is the band gold?
Yes.
So a gold band with the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that is one thing that just like really kind of gets me about this case is that her ring was never recovered. Now, one thing that I am holding on hope for, even though it's been literally over 20 years, is like I mentioned before, the authorities do have guilty knowledge information. So they are sitting on a bombshell that they know if the guilty party comes forward, only they will have this information.
Yeah.
But someone knows something for sure. This was a small, tight-knit community. And granted, like if you Google map where the salon was, it is off of a quote-unquote highway.
Yeah.
So there were people driving through. But someone knows something. That time, the 13 minutes, that seems like a long time, but really that's a really good amount of time to be able to narrow down in, right? Like sometimes it's, we know they went missing this day. We know they went missing like between this hour and that hour, but we have a 13-minute time frame where a car was seen with that specific kind of license plate. Okay? So someone knows something. And to this day, like I said, Pistol has more questions than answers. This case remains unsolved. So the Georgia Bureau of Investigations and the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, they continue to keep this investigation. It is a cold case at this point, but they've kept the investigation open, and they're always open to tips. You can call the GBI tip line at 1-800-597-8477. You guys, there are so many pieces of this case that it's like, this could, I remember that car with that license plate.
Right.
I remember seeing that ring. I remember, there's so many things about this case where it could, that could be it. And even if it is 20 years old, this is the type of case that obviously rocked this small town when it happened. And then when the Unsolved Mysteries episode came out, there was a lot of talking about it, obviously. It's been 5 years since then, and we're still no closer to answers. So these are the type of cases that we need to keep alive. Because it's 100%
definitely
solvable. Like, they have it right there. 13 fucking minutes, you guys.
And people came forward. Like, I love to know that those, the two witnesses did speak up, so that we have something to go off of, and that's what we need is people, they each gave a piece to this unsolved puzzle.
Yes.
When it comes to the vehicle, when it comes to, I know one said possibly a guy, possibly a girl, but, putting someone else at the scene.
Exactly.
How the vehicles were positioned, was, their hands on each other in that way. There's so many things. And so if two people saw something, other people probably did as well. And then even if it's not at that scene, if your family member had that vehicle, the ring, conversations that you overhear, where was she taken back to where you were? I don't know. That is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking for her son, who it's very clear she would have done really anything and everything for.
Oh, yeah. And that's what, and it's even more heartbreaking, right? Because, he has nothing of his mom.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very, very, very hard thing to deal with. So, and it blows my mind that, not that it's any different, but to me it is a little different. How can a show be played for the world and someone hasn't stepped up and said to this
Fuck
person,
you.
exactly, I'm sorry, but actually there is legal action I can take, and I am going to help you because this is absolute insanity right here.
I know. It's one of those things, right? Such bullshit.
It is. It is bullshit.
But yeah, that is the story of, I like to say, I don't actually know for sure what her legal name was, but I'm going to call her Patrice Tamber Enders, just to continue and make sure that, because they did interview her dad too for the show, and she's missed, clearly, and it's a tragic one.
Well, you did an incredible job covering it.
You?
And a long time coming, like you said, this is one that you've been wanting to do.
I always think about this one. I'll just get random flashes of this, of that or this, and I'm like, oh my God, I think about this case a lot. And it's just because I think that just that time frame just sticks in my head.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. All right, you guys, do something for 13 minutes. Think of her and then share this so we can get it to more people.
100%. We got listeners in Georgia. Shout out Georgia.
Someone knows something. Shout out Georgia. We need some help, Georgia, and all the surrounding areas, because wow. And that ring. We need to post that ring everywhere.
We'll post it for sure.
Vehicles,
it's a very, like that ring, you'd be like, oh, I recognize that ring. It's a very
unique.
Thank you.
Design
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there it is. Our first year 3 case
in the books. Yes, case in the books.
There it is.
No, yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Couple things before we go, just to throw some things out there for you guys. If you have not yet listened to the Death Not Yet series You Should Be Here, definitely go check that out. That is the Survivor series. We both brought a case to that series. Heather did Susan Walters. I did Holly K. Dunn Pendleton. The entire thing is just, I'm still in awe and disbelief. And I'm so thankful that we're able to participate in this and work alongside such amazing podcasters. And these stories, not that, I loved the Homicide Tree. I loved Orno. They're very, very impactful and amazing.
But Survivor stories just hit different.
So different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just am still thinking about them. I made Joel sit through and listen to me just talk about almost there. I think I just went, I opened my podcast
and it was this one.
And I went down. And long story short, here is every single detail about every single case.
Love it.
We did not get up for 4 hours.
Good.
But yeah, definitely go check that out.
We'll link it in the show notes, and maybe we'll stick in a little trailer poo.
Yeah, I think that we should.
Yeah,
I think we should do that.
Welcome to Death Not Yet, a You Should Be Here Podcasters Give Back series. Each episode focuses on an individual whose story exemplifies perseverance, bravery, and survival. Like a phoenix rising up from the ashes, these individuals in these cases today will inspire and encourage you to keep going.
That is when a man lunged at her from behind her bedroom door. This unknown intruder turned attacker, wore yellow rubber gloves, and was holding a black and red claw hammer. This man immediately swung the weapon, hitting Susan on her left temple. But Susan would not merely accept this attack. Susan's instincts kicked in. She was an emergency room nurse. She had decades of experience encountering people with weapons, disarming disorderly patients, restraining violent, thrashing individuals in the throes of a medical emergency. In those cases, Susan was using her skills to save someone else's life. This time, she needed to save her own. When the dispatcher asked if Susan needed an ambulance, the neighbor responded, "No, she's a nurse. She says, call an ambulance for the guy. He may be dead."
But when the attacker returned and saw what she had done, he exploded with rage. He told them he had just gotten out of jail, that his friend was coming, and that he had a gun. He threatened them before tying them up again and walking away. That's when Chris turned to Holly and said quietly, "Just stay calm. Everything is going to be okay." But a reoccurring theme in this episode is, as a young child, Holly was driven to be great. In college, Holly was driven to succeed. Through her attack, she was driven to survive. After the attack, she was driven to convict. And in her later years, she was driven to help. In my opinion, there really is nothing that would stand in the way of Holly K. Dunn Pendleton and who she is as a person.
And then if you have not yet checked out our Patreon, feel free to do so there. We have some bonus content that comes out. Or if you don't want the bonus, that's totally fine. But we do have early and ad-free listening if you want that. I know I subscribe to some friends because I hate ads. So that is my jam right there.
For sure.
And that is currently how I listen to our show too. When I need to go back and make sure everything sounds perfect, I listen on Patreon because I am not dealing with these ads here. Sorry,
But
guys.
but this is the thing. We've got things cooking, we've got things rolling. We kind of need that money, so either ads or Patreon. Support us one way or the other. It is what it is,
Yeah. Yep, it's amazing. And another free, amazing way to support us is leaving a rating or review. If you have not done that, please consider doing that. That is actually the ultimate and most amazing and best way that you can support us.
Yes.
It helps us to be seen by other people. That really is in the algorithm. So just a couple things to think about. Other than that, Heather, again, amazing job on year 3, baby girl. And we will talk to you guys next week. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye. Yay. Yay. Bye. We've been saying "K love you bye" for 3 years.
3 years of that.
I wonder how many "K love you byes" that is. Someone do the math.
I mean, we have 224 episodes, so there's that many.
That's that many.
Don't even know if that's the right number, but it sounds right to me.
Love it.
And all the ones we've messed up, and all of the collaborations, and all of the extra stuff we do.
So it's like 300.
Dude, so many.
That's
And
so
so
many.
many
I
more
love
to
you.
come.
Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay.